really tough, turbulent experience that you come through the other side of. You know, the fight was cancelled earlier in the summer, and you had a family tragedy as well, which was horrendous for you to go through. A lot of people would have cancelled the fight and not gone through with it. Just talk about what that experience was like in there, and the fanfare in there was absolutely incredible at the top floor of the Shankly Hotel tonight.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, the fight in July fell through last minute. It's so frustrating. And then they were like, okay, next week we're going to plan this big event that hasn't been done in the Shankly, and it's your big homecoming. And I was really in a low point, as in I didn't have much faith in a big plan like that. But it couldn't have went any better. It was special, and it just all come together perfect. And the atmosphere in there, you know, my last 2 fights have been in York Hall. That was better than York Hall. And you know, leading up to this fight as well, we had an opponent change and everything else. And then I lost my granddad about 3 weeks ago. He basically raised me, and that was a really hard time to keep the camp going and get that done. But I've done it tonight for him, and no one's going to stop me in his city tonight.
Testament to yourself, Jack, because I remember when we had that FaceTime in September last year, and you know, you was doing job outside of boxing to make ends meet because of COVID, and that's a side of you that not a lot of people have seen. That lockdown was tough for everyone, but you were unable to pursue your dream, so you had to make ends meet for your family. Now you're back here, the dream is well and truly back on. Just in terms of what your opponent brought to you on that one, it seemed that every time you knocked him down, he was coming back 10 times stronger. You must have been thinking, bloody hell, what is it going to take to get him out of it?
That fight, you know, my dad mentioned it the other day. He went, Edvinas is the perfect guy before you're going into a tough title fight where you have got someone for the 10 rounds, 12 rounds, and they're not going to move. And after that fight, I was thinking, all right, let's stop going mad, let's get back to your boxing. And I learned a lot with that. I always say this, usually with a win you don't learn much, but I'm learning every fight. I'm only getting better. I'll be better next time, and everything's just coming together lovely for me. But go and find someone at my weight who's not a big guy, who's not a big massive, who's not in the heavyweight division, who's stopping people consistently and having such exciting fights like that. And you know, even Edvinas did it himself. He was on skates from early on, and I was getting to him if it weren't that round, it was the next round, and he was hurt early. And you know, he did take the fight late, yeah, but if you look at the way he fought, there's no way he hasn't done that off the couch. He hasn't done that off the couch.
He was in camp. That's why we took the fight, and that's why he took a 10-rounder, because he knew he was in camp. He was in camp. He knew he could do the 10 rounds. That's why he took a 10-rounder against Jack. There was no persuading. He fancied himself. When Jack was there, listen, how many 10-8 rounds were there? How many times did you knock him down? About 3. And then he got to the point of the guts for throwing his gum shield out because he couldn't. At one point,
the ref come over and was going, and he put it in. I went, what are you doing? What are you doing?
At one point, I was watching the thing. I was like, please don't call this a disqualification. I just wanted Jack to finish him. And when his hand thing, I just thought that was an easy excuse to say, listen, right, I've had enough.
What do you think that was about with the gum shield thing? Do you think it was a deliberate thing?
Keep up with the pace. He could not keep up with the pace. I'll say it for Jack. Listen, I'll say it for a fan. He couldn't keep up with the pace. He was hurting him as well, concussive punching. He was in the ring, and he'll tell you.
The reason I was pissed off is I was catching him clean, and I thought, I want you flat on your back. I don't want it. You on your knees holding your arm. I want you flat on your back. I don't want to hurt the kid, bro. I've always had highlight reel finishes, and I want to keep him going.
He's a very smart fighter because Jack, as soon as Jack hit him, he took a knee. Remember, he caught him a big right hand. As soon as Jack hit him, he took a knee. So he's a very smart fighter in thinking, I need to take a knee and recuperate. Other fighters would say, I've been dazed, and that's why it took that long for Jack to get out. Otherwise, it would have been a different fight.
Edvinas, I haven't said all that. Out of everyone I've ever been with, he's one tough bastard. Tough.
We've lined up a definite fight for November, and I'd like Jack to tell the audience what we've got.
We've got Carson Jones has already agreed to it. As long as I got to tonight, that's what we're going for in November.
As long as Carson Jones is fighting tomorrow in an 8-rounder, as long as he gets through that, him and Jack McGann will be in November. Everything to be announced. Everything to be announced. We hope it's Liverpool, but everything to be announced. But let's hope Carson gets through his 8-rounder tomorrow night and Saturday, and then we've got a fight.
I don't know where it is, but I'm going to say it on camera. Please, bring it back here, please.
This is a special location as well, wasn't it? Like on the rooftop here, it felt like a sold-out arena, didn't it, Jack? Just in terms of having that emotion of getting that fight out of your system now, because you've been itching for that consistency in your career. Every time that you've had a fight, there's been some sort of obstacle you've had to overcome, and it's such a shame to see, because you know me, I've been one of your biggest supporters for a long time, and I'm always so excited to see you back in there. You're an all-action fighter, always deliver. Is that something that is key for you, the consistency, and do you feel that that's what's going to be delivered from Neilson Boxing?
Yeah, I don't know what I've done. I must have smashed the middle a few years ago, but hopefully I'm getting to the end of it. But you know what, even when it's bad, like in July, I was down and it was a bad time with the fighting and everything else, but it all comes together and it works out in the end. So, you know, that's my main point. I'm sure to keep working, and it always works out in the end for me. So,
he's always improving under Martin, always. His last fight with John Brennan and all that, but he's always in exciting fights. This kid is money. You wanna go and watch him. You really wanna go and watch him.
Made for the telly. I keep saying it. Made for it.
In terms of what pulls you through those wars, family and friends is something that's so important to you, and it's evident here tonight. Is that what you're thinking of in there? Or you just switched on?
No, here's the thing, right? My half fella had the wolf slayer at the gym when I was like 12 or something, and I was fighting monsters and men in the gym from an early age, and he put me through hell, and I love him for it, and that's why I fight the way I fight, because of my dad.
You're a strong man, everything that you've overcome, and you're a credit to yourself and your family, Jack, so I'm gonna leave it there. But well done, brilliant fight, brilliant performance.